last year's win total.
Got it. Offense, defense. That's offense. And one more.
Going into this season, Wilson Central's big question was their line. They returned a lot of skill people.
Mm-hmm.
And Hendersonville's just the opposite. Their big question was skill people. They returned their line. So big Chad Dye, tight end, 6'3", 250.
Defense, and yeah, this should do it. Good deal.
Do you need more conversations? You still need talk going on? You just miss us? What? What's the point?
Any problematic pronunciations?
Yes. No. Well, there are a couple, I think, but on the starting lineup, I don't think there's any.
Just a second.
I've got a roster, but I don't have the lineups.
Here we go.
You want me to read them to you? All right.
Cabasu.
You guessing?
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe they'll do the start lineups.
And now our national anthem performed by the Wilson Central High School Band.
Thanks.
The Wilson Central High School award-winning band.
Hey, what's up?
How goes it, man?
Well,
All
besides,
right.
he's in the sauna upstairs. He's doing great.
Yeah.
Can you hear us up there?
I can, yeah, I was hearing
I noticed that you took your headphones off because you're tired of hearing us.
Hendersonville's 1-1.
Correct.
Wilson Central's 2-0.
2-0, and they're both 1-0 in district. I don't think you can put that down there, but they're both undefeated in district play.
Okay. Go ahead and, once I get
Starting
set up.
lineup for the Hendersonville.
Oh, well, listen.
Their defense coming into tonight's game with a record of 1-1. Defensive end number 81, Chad Dye.
Starting
tackle is number 78, Brandon Bork. The nose guard, number 21, Anthony Tate. Defensive end, number 32, Drew Davis. Outside linebacker, number 52, Brandon West.
I was going to see if they would say.
They will, hopefully.
The Mike linebacker, number 54, Trevor Connor. And middle linebacker, number 55,
What's that?
Ryan Ward.
Where are you at?
Rover, number 48, Colt Sullivan.
Okay, left tackle Brandon Bork, 78.
Number 27, Andrew Tate.
Bork, B-O-U-R-K.
Free safety, number 11, Jackson Duke.
Die, D-Y-E.
All right, and what's the number next one?
Nose guard 21, Anthony Tate.
Starting offense for the Wilson Central Wildcats coming in.
Defensive end 32, Drew Davis.
At left tackle, number 75, Andrew Stoddard. Left guard,
Davis.
number 50, Brian Cummings. At center, number 52,
Outside linebacker
John
number
Burke.
52, Brandon West.
Left guard, number 56, Jordan McCullough. At right tackle, number 68,
Mike linebacker number 54, Trevor Connor.
receiver, number 7, Rod Crutchfield.
C-O-N-N-O-R.
Receiver, number 15, Chris Lee. Number 8, Alex
Linebacker Ryan Ward, number 55.
10, Jordan Roundtree.
Ward, W-A-R-D.
Featured back number 40, Trey Gibbon. And the D-back number 1, Fitzgerald.
Rover, 48, Colt Cupid. C-U-P-I-T. Colt Cupid. Right cornerback, number 27, Andrew Pate. P-A-T-E. Left cornerback, Bailey Rogers, R-O-G-E-R-S, number 23. And free safety, Jackson Duke, number 11.
Go ahead and read off the position for me one more time. Number 81, what position?
Defensive end. 78, defensive tackle. Nose guard, 21. Defensive end, 32. Outside linebacker, or just put linebacker, I guess, 52. Linebacker, 54. Linebacker, 55. Defensive back, 48. Cornerback, 27. Cornerback, 23. Free safety, 11. Defense. Offense.
Is number 11 a safety?
He is. Free safety. What do you want for that?
You know where? I'm not sure. I think right here.
Hendersonville or who's this? This looks like us.
Probably so, yeah.
For Hendersonville, Bruce Hatfield. It is the head coach Brad Dedman, D-E-D-M-A-N.
You gave me the
There's no beverages up here.
Correct.
Is there?
Defense.
No
Is that what you
beverages
wanted?
up here, is there?
My fault.
Understand that.
We can do it quick.
Wilson County, just going to give me the number first, then name the position.
Defense for Wilson County. 7. Rod Crutchfield. C-R-U-T-C-H-F-I-E-L-D. Defensive end. 74. Dylan Smith. Tackle. Defensive tackle. Number 72. Caleb, K-A-L-E-B, Roberts. Defensive tackle. Number 6, Preston Reed, R-E-E-D, defensive end. What's that? Defensive end. We got a linebacker, number 40, Trey, T-R-E-Y, Givens, linebacker. Number 9, Kyle Coombs, Coombs, linebacker. Number Coombs, Coombs, linebacker. Number 5, Andre Corder, Corder, linebacker. Cornerback, 23, Darius Dally, Dally, cornerback. Next one. Number 30, Jonathan Ward, Ward, cornerback. Number 4, Nick Grant, free safety. And then number 29, Tyler McBurney, MC, lowercase c, Burney, rover.
Know who our special teams peeps are?
Well, you got the kicker for
Okay,
Wilson Central, Edgar Tavares, and then I'm trying to think if you've got, it doesn't mention it, Hendersonville maybe. I don't see it. Wilson Central, but I don't see Hendersonville's.
All right.
Who's the head coach?
For Wilson Central,
Yeah.
it is Brad Dedman, Dedman,
Spell that one more time.
Dedman.
Anybody know the name of the stadium?
No, and I've looked around. I didn't see anything.
Do I know what?
The name of the stadium.
Is it on
No.
there? I'd say Wilson Central.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been. I mean, the school's relatively new. It's only been here 10 years, maybe, or less. So they may not have gotten to a point where they've named it yet.
All right, we got about 3 minutes, so we can go whenever, because we've got enough to cover a few minutes. Can you turn me up in my ear so I can hear myself and Jerry a little better? Which one is it, do you know? Hello? No, that didn't do anything. That's turning up there. No, that didn't do anything. Well,
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
It's just
yeah.
picking up out
All right.
there. That's all it's
maybe a
doing.
little bit more if you can.
Are you deaf?
I liked it to be nice and loud.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not deaf yet, hopefully.
Is that an implication that I am because I got gray hair? We're ready.
Good evening, folks. Welcome. Friday Night Football right here on PlayOnSports.com. This is going to be, I guess you could call it the skeleton of a pregame show, as we're about 2 minutes before kickoff here at Wilson Central High School, home of the Wildcats. They're 2-0. They're going to be taking on the Hendersonville Commandos, 1-1 here early in the season. Jerry Landers next to me in the analyst position. And Jerry, the thing that's most amazing about Wilson Central's start is they've already matched their win total from the 2011 campaign, and they look to do more damage here in front of this raucous home crowd here at WCHS.
Yeah, they were 2-8 last year and already 2-0 on the season with a big district win against Gallatin High School in the first week back in week 0. So I talked to Coach Dedman earlier this week, and he said that was one of the things. They have a lot of confidence coming in. So the question mark was their line. They had lost a lot of kids on the line, but returned most of their skill set positions. So they have a lot of confidence. A couple of big wins early are just building on that confidence, and they're looking forward to tonight.
And it looks like quarterback Jordan Roundtree has done a lot of good things for them early in the season. That Gallatin game that you mentioned to open, that was never close. 28-0 right out of the gates, cruised to a 35-13 victory over the Green Wave. So the Wildcats really, and definitely these fans, have plenty to be excited about this early in the season. College football, Jerry, kicked off last night. There's big games tonight in state. Tennessee actually down in Atlanta right now taking on NC State. But you wouldn't know it looking around here. These people are excited for their team. High school football really starting to crank up in week 3. And as always, the playoff push in high school and college football begins on day 1. Every win counts. Should be an exciting matchup this evening.
Oh, it's going to be a great game because this is a District 9 AAA ball game. So this is a district game. They're both 1-0 in district. Again, with Wilson Central, that game against Gallatin was huge at getting that big win. And one of the big things from it, as Coach Dedman said, they really had an emphasis this summer on special teams, and special teams came through. A block punt return for a touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown. So he said the special teams is really playing well right now.
And on the other side of the ball, a Hendersonville offense, if you want to look at why they're 1-1, a really good football team, it is kind of mediocre play from the two quarterbacks. 2 turnovers apiece, 2 passing interceptions each last week. That en route to a 27-17 beatdown at the hands of Franklin. But I'll tell you, this team's got a lot of moxie. If they can get the quarterback situation under control, they can certainly make this an interesting season. Still very early. These two teams knotted right next to each other in the standings. Mount Juliet at the top right now, but still so much football to be played beginning tonight with 48 minutes of hard-hitting high school football action courtesy of PlayOnSports.com and, of course, the TSSAA.
Yeah, and we're talking about Hendersonville. They're not going to throw the ball a lot. They're a big
Certainly
team.
Not.
They're big and physical. And that's one of the things that Coach Hatfield said. He's his 15th year. He's done a great job, probably in this district, one of the most fundamental teams. And they're just going to line up, and they're just going to try to stick it down your throat. Coach Dedman said it's going to be tonight. We're going to see a classic speed versus strength. And it's going to be the size of Hendersonville and the speed of Wilson Central, and just see who can dictate control of the game tonight.
We may see some of Richard, but we're certainly going to see a lot of Jeremiah Elston. But so far this season, he is only 1 completion for 10 attempts for 27 yards. Still no touchdown. The only touchdown of the season registered by Richard last week in that loss to Franklin. And give them credit. They were down 20-3 at the half, fought back to only be beaten by 10. So they played a much better second half, just had a tough start. And you got to think that tonight they certainly want to avoid that against a Wilson Central team that's riding high on the confidence ladder.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Hatfield said one of their keys was they returned their front 7. They returned their front 7 on offensive line. They returned their front 7 on the defensive line. But they are looking for skilled people, and they will play. It is running back by committee. And it is going to be, during the first week, you had Andrew Pate, had 9 rushes for 95 yards. He was their leading rusher, and then they turn around in game 2, and it's Cameron Turner has 24 rushes for 145 yards. So they're playing a lot of backs. They're going to find the guy who's hot, and they're going to ride him. That's what Coach Hatfield said.
And it's going to be the home team Wildcats kicking off to the away team Commandos, who sometimes, for those of you in the North Carolina area, looks a whole lot like Boone, looks like Appalachian State out there, the Mountaineers. And we're ready for action. This one's going to get a good kick deep into the end zone. Anytime a high school kicker can place one into the end zone, that's a win.
Hey, Jason, earlier when they were warming up, this guy was from 45 yards out. He was dead on center of the upright. So, I mean, he's got a foot on him.
And that can mean the difference between a win and a loss. So here we go. These two teams pretty similar when you look at them across the board size-wise. There's not a huge disadvantage.
Hey, probably Hendersonville's got a little bit of advantage, out that line. They're just all 7 guys. They're just about the same size. You got Chad Dye, who is a major college prospect at tight end, number 81, who's about 6'3", 250. And so he's just coaches in District 9 say, you know, they know Chad Dye is going to lay a lick.
All right, Jeremiah Elston, 5'11", underneath center. He's got Cameron Turner behind him, man in motion. First play of the game, he's going to hand off to Turner. Turner turns it just to the left a bit, drags a tackler for an extra yard. That's probably about a 3-yard gain to start. And again, you said Hendersonville not known for the offensive aerial attack, so we'll probably see a lot of Cameron Turner and a lot on the ground tonight.
And there, it looks like you're going to see a little bit of some option stuff. They got running backs in motion, moving back and forth. So
here's Elston again, and handoff.
It was a nice gap. He just got tripped up, but a first down.
Yeah, it was a nice set of blocks there by the offensive line. I believe that's Kabasu, who also splits out wide at receiver. Anytime you open up a gap like that, you hope to get a first down out of it, and that's exactly what the Commandos have done, advancing the football to the 33. Maybe the rain cooled it off a little bit, but it certainly didn't make it less humid out here.
No, it did not.
Elston this time hangs on to it himself. Not a bad call. Really nothing else that he could do right there. Gets about half the yardage towards the next first down. Actually, they're going to give him 6 and advance the ball to the 39-yard line.
So far on this drive, it's pretty much been Hendersonville being able just to stick the ball up, get 5, 6, 7 yards on the carry.
And that's what you want to do, especially if you've been struggling a little bit offensively, which this team has. Man in motion again. Elston.
It's going to be close. Depends on the spot.
Yeah, it does depend on the spot. I'd say he's probably half a yard short. Yeah, that spot's not.
Yeah, they're about a half yard off.
Turner, who we saw in the first play against Franklin, 23 rushes, 144 yards and a ground touchdown. Also added 48 yards on 11 carries and another score in the first game. So he's certainly somebody they're going to need to rely on as they try to get Elston comfortable against this Wilson Central defense.
Oh, that's a nice second effort. He just backed his way down the field. He got hit, turned around. He just kept churning the legs.
And that's Kabasu again.
Again, they've been running in a lot of running backs.
And Elston goes to the sidelines to get the call. Just a sophomore.
And he's
playing varsity football in Tennessee.
And he's gonna stay warm because he goes to the sideline for every play.
Yep. In the gun this time. He has Kabasu next to him again, hands it to Kabasu, who tries to go across the formation, gets snuffed out. Responsible for most of that damage, number 22.
Great penetration by the Wilson Central defensive line.
Trey Gibbons on the tackle.
Yeah, they got inside and they stopped for no gain. They pushed him back, but his forward progress got back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, we had Gibbons listed at number 40. He's actually number 22. Things do change. Back to the line, this time back underneath center. Fakes the handoff to the right side and gives it again up the middle. Good work on the ground early on here. And that's Kabasu again.
Yeah, they found something right there between the guards, right up the middle. They've been able to hand the ball up, and Kabasu's been able to get big gains out of that, a 10-yard gain there.
There's only 19 carries for Kabasu coming into the game, 63 yards for him. So he's certainly become a bigger part of the offense early on for Hendersonville. And again, he gets the carry, but nothing doing this time.
Yeah.
Kyle Coombs, the linebacker, celebratory, and should have been after a great hit right there. Wrapped him up, took him right down. No yardage on the play. 2nd and 8.
It'll be interesting to see if they go back into the middle of the line. That was kind of off tackle, and both the last couple of plays that they've tried to run off tackle to the left and the right, Wilson Central stopped it. But up the middle, Hendersonville's been able to gain a lot of yardage. It'll be interesting to see if they go back to that little dive.
Elston.
He's going to keep it, turn it up.
Yeah, and he had about half the team fooled right there.
Yeah.
You know, he had about half of the Wilson Central Wildcats fooled. They followed Kabasu. Elston bounces it out to the left side on the keeper.
He had half the broadcast team, too. I was looking at Kabasu.
I wasn't going to call it until I saw it.
Yeah, well.
And it took a moment to figure it out there, but he gets that ball out to the 36-yard line. That's going to leave a 3rd and 4 as we're about 4.5 minutes in here. First quarter, playonsports.com, TSSAA, 7:22 remaining. First quarter. Here's Elston again. Flag is down. That may have been that's probably a false start, but we'll see. And these are the penalties that you see quite a bit in prep school football. Procedural penalties before the snap penalties. Indeed, a false start on Hendersonville. That's going to turn a 3rd and 4 into a much less manageable 3rd and 9.
Now let's see if they throw the ball this time.
As of yet, 0 for 0 through the air, which is exactly what you said would be the case.
I mean, you look at it here, they're going to march it back. So we were 3rd and 9, probably of the 40-yard line. It probably 2-down territory. You don't know if they would try to punt or maybe try a long field goal, but you kind of assume they may keep it on the ground if they're going to look at going for it.
Well, the holes that they've been opening up in the middle wouldn't potentially be a bad decision on their part.
No.
And it looks like they've got Kabasu in there again in the gun, and Kabasu indeed is going to get the carry.
And flags again.
That may have been a
hold.
Yeah,
probably.
that's in the range of offensive holding for sure.
And it wasn't one official. They had 2 of them throwing it at the same spot.
Yeah, that one was pretty crystal clear, and that was a heck of a hole deeper down the field than you would expect. And indeed, offensive holding. So going in the wrong direction after a good start to the drive, a false start, and then a hold. And they've got a long way to go.
Yeah, they're back on their side of the field now. So they had, like you said, they had a great drive going, and now you're going to look at they're going to be somewhere around midfield, 3rd and about 18.
Not what you want.
No. Let's say 3rd and about 24.
Yeah. This is deep, folks. They're still marching them back here. The ball's going to be placed on the 45-yard line.
I had to take out a calculator. I'm working on the math.
They've got to get it to about the 32. And here's Elston under center. Power set.
He is going to throw.
Through the air.
Oh, he's got a guy. He's underthrew it.
Wobbly pass. And pretty good coverage right there.
At first you thought he was going to break open, but the defensive back did a great job, closed the gap, and the ball was thrown behind him.
Cornerback Jonathan Ward right there continued to push the receiver down the field to make it even more impossible to make that play. That's going to leave 4th and 23. You were right, 23 yards. There you go, 4th and 23 from their 45, and mere moments ago, this team was in field goal range. And here comes the kick. Low line drive punt. Going to be fielded at about the 20-yard line. And he's going to grab a couple of extra, squirt his way to about the 28.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the Play on Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
So here we go from the 29-yard line officially. That's where Roundtree's going to start.
He's got a man deep.
Wow, and he's got him, and he is not going to be caught. 10-5 touchdown, first offensive play of the night for Wilson Central. And we talked about Jordan Roundtree being quite effective early in the season for Wilson Central, and you just saw it right there. 71 yards, touchdown.
Hey, and we're looking at there, Coach Debin said, hey, we can get our speed and we can beat the strength, and we're going to be in good shape. And there, the offensive wide receiver was able to get beyond the defender and was way past him. He had to wait for the ball, still caught it, and was able to outrun everybody in the end zone.
Yeah, that was some kind of play, and the defender was completely fooled. We'll get the official word on exactly who that was here momentarily. But quite a start after a pretty long plodding drive on the ground for Hendersonville that ends up empty. And there's the extra point kick. And he actually jumped when he kicked that ball. Good enough. Through the uprights. 7-0. 6:17 to play opening quarter here as Wilson Central and the home team Wildcats strike first.
Well, they jumped on it. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better start if you were looking at trying to map this thing out, go up top, find a guy wide open, and run it 71 yards in for a touchdown.
And Roundtree's got the arm, clearly.
Yeah, he put the ball in the air probably about 45 yards.
So we're going to take this thing back to the beginning of the first quarter. We'll see if Hendersonville can get some points on the board.
See if the offense can sustain another drive and this time cut back the penalties.
I believe that it was Darius Daly that caught that touchdown pass. Not sure. We're going to try and get that official word in a second. A couple of numbers have been swapped here. And a kick. And this one's definitely a low line driver, and it's going to be fielded about the 12 on the run. And he gets the ball out to about the 26-yard line.
Napier.
Yeah, Morgan Napier, the junior, on that reception. Pulls double duty for this team, also plays defensive back and running back in addition to the return duties. 6:11 to play. First down and 10 from the 27-yard line. And here's Elston. And that went nowhere.
And dive up in the middle. This time Wilson Central stopped it.
And that was Kabasu again. They do a good job of masking who has the football. But that time, Wildcats certainly snuffed it out. No gain. And 2nd and 10. Elston under center. He's got Kabasu behind him. Going to give it to the halfback this time. That's Andrew Pate. And my goodness, what a hit to take him down.
We've got another flag on the field. And again, it's in the area where you think maybe holding.
And that was Eric Simmons on the hit, number 25, the senior.
So they decided to decline the penalty and put him in a 3rd and long.
Kyle Coombs also had a bit of that tackle, and he's already had a big hit early in this game. That's another penalty.
Well, they're going to take it now, so they're pushing him back.
They'll make him do it again. At the 20-yard line now. 2nd and 17 for Elston. Elston still got the football. Had to get his footing back. All right, 2 things happen right there. But you see right there, 29, Tyler McBurney, who likes to rove and play linebacker. And what happened right there was Elston lost his footing, and we had to wonder, how that was going to play into it with all the rain that's been in Nashville and the surrounding areas here in Lebanon all afternoon. And we got another flag down.
This time it's on Wilson Central, so the good return is going to be pushed back a little bit. But, yeah, you're right, Jason.
What happened was he lost his footing, and then he got frantic and decided to throw the ball anyway, and there was nobody even close.
No, except for
McBurney.
Yeah, and there wasn't any. I mean, he just threw the ball where he thought a receiver was supposed to be, I assume, but there was nobody there.
So 2 interceptions for Elston last week. So that's his 3rd interception on the season.
And he's, he's just a sophomore. So, again, he may have got rattled. He realized those guys were getting on top of him, and he just let loose of the ball too soon.
He'll learn that sometimes discretion is the better part of valor.
Exactly.
And that puts Wilson Central in really good field position. And they get about a yard on first down on the ground. 2nd and 9. 4:43 to play. Wilson Central 7. Hendersonville nothing. And Roundtree
we have a tackle for a loss by Chad Dye.
That was Tim Fitzgerald on the carry, if you want to call it a carry. Tough one right there. Good defense, and you see Hendersonville trying to help Elston out. 2 pretty solid defensive stops on the ground in a row. They might need to watch out for the aerial attack here after what we saw from Mr. Roundtree on his first play of the game. And he's going to stay in shotgun. Throws to the end. It goes right through the outstretched arms of Chris Lee.
Just a little high.
And there's a flag on the far side of the field, nowhere near the football. The official picked it up. Okay, they're going to call another procedural penalty against Wilson Central. But 4th and 11, they're going to decline that one, obviously. And that is going to bring on, you never know in high school football exactly what's going to happen in this situation.
They're going to go for the field goal.
Yep.
And like I said, he was hitting from 45 yards out earlier today, so it'll be interesting. This is going to be a 48-yard attempt.
48 yards. There's
maybe more.
There's teams playing on Sundays that could use kickers that could knock it in from 48 yards. Wilson Central.
They had to burn a timeout. They didn't get the personnel in the game.
And not happy about it as a coordinator. And we'll be back. PlayOnSports.com and TSSAA.com presenting tonight's game between Wilson Central and Hendersonville. The Wildcats lead 7-0.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Brad Kavanaugh, the junior, knocks it in from 48. Jerry, it just scoots over the bottom upright. But guess what? That's all you got to do. That's 3 points tacked on for Wilson Central off the Elston interception. 10-0 now. And that was quite a kick for a high school player.
You're talking about not just 48 yards, but he was from the right hash mark. And that, even though it just barely cleared the bar, that was in the center. I mean, he hit it dead center. So we're looking at, he's got a great leg.
Can't ask for more than what the junior gave you right there. And turnover costs Hendersonville again. Really hurt them last week against Franklin. Elston's still a sophomore. He'll make some mistakes. He'll also make some good plays. He's obviously got some good speed back there, and he's good on the fakes. And I'm not sure he throws that pick had it not been for the footing error. And here's Kavanaugh again. We know he's got the leg. And gets this one right to the goal line. That's where it's going to be picked up. And he scoots through.
Yeah.
He scoots through. Midfield. Got one man to beat. Gets caught.
Kicker.
The kicker wraps him up and takes him down on the 45-yard line.
But that's exactly the spark that Hendersonville needed. Unfortunately, we have a flag on the field again. Personal foul penalty against Hendersonville.
That's a killer.
Every time they've gotten something positive, that first drive just was stopped by penalties, and now you have a tremendous return, about 56 yards, and now they're going to be pushed back.
That negates a great momentum play.
Personal foul, 15 yards from the spot of the foul. The return all the way back to the 34-yard line. First and 10, Commandos.
So instead of midfield, or on the opposite side of midfield, actually over here by the 45-yard line, they're going to start on their own 33. And another solid hit. And it's Coombs again, leading a gang of tacklers to take Kabasu down. Kabasu's going to get 2 yards, they're going to call it, and put the ball on the 36-yard line.
Coombs had to leave the game. The helmet rule. Helmet popped off on the hit.
Means you're out for a play.
Exactly. We've seen that a couple times already tonight. Trying to get wide.
And that was Drew Richard at quarterback right there. And we have seen a little bit of action from him earlier in the season. Nothing tonight. He didn't end up with the football in the end. And the Stripes are going to call a TO.
Well, we've said this was going to be a huge matchup between strength, that size, just pushing the ball, and then speed. And right now, Hendersonville's trying to get outside on some of the runs, and the speed of Wilson Central, they're catching up with them. They're just not getting a whole lot outside the tackles.
Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and info and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games at YouTube or youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. And again, Richard still underneath center. And he gives to his... That's Cupid, who going into the game, 8 attempts, 9 yards. So tough sledding for him. That's going to leave 4th and 7. And they've updated it now. 4th and 3. Still a punt either way, this time from the 29-yard line. This one, good hang time. Not going to be returned, but does scoot out of bounds. Let's see how far. He's still walking. 31. So 31-yard line. Still not a bad kick.
And we have another flag on the field.
Another procedure penalty?
All right, we got a block in the
block in the back.
Yeah.
Block in the back on a kick that was not even touched. If nobody's returning it, you don't really need to block. And I believe that's what the special teams coach is telling those guys on the sidelines right now. So that's going to bump Wilson Central back here in front of their home crowd, but they do lead this game 10-0 off of a 71-yard touchdown pass from Jordan Roundtree and a 48-yard kick from the right hash mark on damp, unstable ground. from Kavanaugh. And Roundtree under center, one back behind him. And the give is to that back. And he scoots in for a couple of yards.
That was a pretty nice run. He only scored, he only gained a couple of yards, but he went off right tackle, got hit, slid down the line, and ended up somewhere about where the left tackle would be just to pick up a couple of yards.
And that was Trey Givens. He's their star running back, the guy they like to feature the most. Number 22. Drew Davis part of that tackle. 2nd and 8 from the 22.
Oh, in the backfield.
And
they're just driving him back.
Nobody fooled right there. Roundtree didn't mask it. They knew that it was going to Givens, and that's probably a loss of at least 3.
Yeah, I think they're back to the original line of scrimmage, if not below that or behind it a little bit. And again, the strength of Hendersonville is their front 7. And right now, Wilson Central's not able to run the ball in there. They're getting caught and tackled in the backfield time and time again.
3/4 of a minute to play in the first quarter of action here. 3rd and 11, so indeed a loss of 3. Ball on the 19-yard line. Roundtree in the gun. Takes it back. 3-step drop. Goes aerial again.
We got a penalty. That's a pass interference right there.
And that was Chris Lee, the receiver, down the sidelines.
And that's the same combination that scored the first touchdown. So, again, it was about the same play, just a straight fly pattern down the sideline and just throw the ball up.
That means automatic first down. So after pretty good defense, it's all for naught, and they've got to do it again.
After 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage, let's get Wilson back in track.
34-yard line is where the ball is spotted as we near the end of the first quarter of play. Roundtree from the gun. And goes deep again, and this time he outthrows Angel, the intended receiver. True freshman on this team.
Wilson Central plays a lot of underclassmen in a skill position.
So Roundtree may have tried to overcompensate for almost underthrowing his man on the left side by overthrowing his man on the right side. Again, Roundtree in the gun. He's got Givens next to him. Givens stays in to block and does a good job of it. That allows. Halfback Alex Price catches the ball outside. And he's near a marker.
3rd and short. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Wilson Central has not been very successful running the ball, especially between the tackles. Their success is coming throwing the ball on there. They just kind of found a little area in the zone, set up in there, and Roundtree found him.
3rd and all of 1 yard. Probably look for Givens here. But they're going to need to get that handoff quickly if that indeed is what they want to do, because this front 7 has been pushing backwards. And nope, they're going to keep it with the quarterback.
Yeah, he got it.
Yeah, even smarter decision, and Roundtree gets it done. And yes, folks, that sound is a Wildcat. Played for every Wilson Central first down. Again, courtesy of PlayOnSports.com and TSSAA. That is why we are here tonight. Jason Martin, Jerry Landers with you.
And you know, Jason, really, when you think about it, this first quarter, even though Wilson Central has 10 points, that's their first down.
Yep, sure is, because the touchdown play was one play.
One play, and then they didn't get a first down on the field goal. And here, Hendersonville's done a good job defensively. They gave up the big play, and they're obviously susceptible to that because the offensive receivers have been able to get beyond them, and Roundtree's going to be able to throw the ball to them. They're going to have to make sure that they stay with those receivers trying to fly down the field.
And against Gallatin, Roundtree and Chris Lee connected for a 30-yard score as well as other damage. We've seen those two attempt to hook up tonight. And I'm sure we will throughout this football game.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com. High school sports lives here.
So Roundtree trots his offense back out onto the field. Roundtree's going to stay in the shotgun. Again, Givens to his right. Oh. Throws it to number 17. Angel again, and not able to make that grab. Might have been waiting to be hit. If you looked at the way he kind of shifted his highs, I think he tried to move before he actually had the ball in his hands.
And the same thing with the wet turf. He planted and slid. And he was able to get around, but I think he was having a little problem turning back in to try to catch the ball after he had lost some footing.
And we may see that a lot tonight. That's twice, plus the kicker didn't exactly have a great footing on his extra point attempt earlier. Roundtree stays in the gun. One man in motion. Looks to his right.
Getting a little pressure, but he scrambles out of it.
Made a nice move to avoid the sack. There's another flag down.
We got a hold.
Yeah, that's assuredly holding to allow the quarterback to find a way out of that.
Three big old linemen and linebackers chasing Roundtree around, and the offensive halfback decided just to reach out and try to protect his quarterback.
And on the chase, Brandon West, number 52. As well as Ryan Ward, number 55. So that's going to push the Wildcats back 10. Ball placed on the 27-yard line.
With that being a spot foul and the fact that he was being chased in the backfield, that's instead of being a 15-yard penalty, that ends up being about a 25-yard penalty.
Sure does. So pain inflicted, self-inflicted.
It must be something about that side of the field. Every big penalty, the Harding offense has been on that side.
Here's Roundtree again from the gun, steps back, throws, and he's got his man wide open. I'll tell you what, the safety did not get over there in time, and they take advantage down the sidelines. I think he gets knocked out inside the 5.
And it's another flag on the field, but it is on the safety who reached out to grab the wide receiver as he ran by him. So again, they're just flying down the field. They're not making any major moves. The wide receivers are just lining up, and it's a straight sprint, and they're sprinting by the Hendersonville defensive backs, and they're wide open.
And that was Timmy Fitzgerald getting loose down the left sidelines. And again, when Roundtree sees down, it seems like down the sidelines is where he really likes to work.
Well, it's just, again, it's the speed of Wilson Central. They're just lining up and just flying down the field. They're letting Roundtree throw the ball up in the air, and they're beating them.
They've gotten behind the corners consistently all the way through this game, and right there the safety had to cheat over to make the play, and he was about 2 yards short of where he needed to be. So a huge play, another enormous play right there, and it came off of a terrible penalty on Wilson Central. So they get all of that back and march it down inside the red zone, officially at the 10-yard line, as Roundtree strikes to Tim Fitzgerald. This time he stays under center. And that's Fitzgerald again. Tried to bounce it around. Tried to cut back inside to avoid the outside man, but he's going to get tackled at the 5. So they get half of it, 2nd and goal.
And again, they're successfully running the football when they can get outside the tackle. Anything inside the tackle, Hendersonville's been able to just kind of snuff out and just kind of stop for a little or no gain. But here, if they can get outside the defensive ends, they're going to be able to gain a little bit of yardage.
This may be a long evening for the secondary of the Commandos. 2nd and goal. Just under 11 minutes to play here in the first half. PlayOnSports.com bringing you the action. Right there's Roundtree. He's going to fake that one, decide better of it. Just trying to make something happen here. What a beautiful play that was.
He stepped in and avoided the rush.
And saving the touchdown, the linebacker goes all the way across to the right side, leaps in front, does Ryan Ward, the senior, and he saved the touchdown because Roundtree was able to make something out of nothing right there, and that was a definite catch had it not been for the outstretched arms and body of Ryan Ward.
I know this is Jordan Roundtree's first year to start as a quarterback. He's just a junior, but he's doing a great job avoiding the rush. He stepped around at that time, kept the play alive, and instead of getting a loss, no gain, but at least he didn't take a loss.
And he's showing some poise, too. Not only is he escaping the rush, he's not making a rash decision with the football. One man in motion. This time he's going to hand it back to the opposite side to the right. I believe that's Fitzgerald again. And that's going to leave him about a yard and a half short of the goal line. With a 10-0 lead at home, you got to imagine this crowd beneath us is going to be calling for them to go for it.
Yeah, and that was a nice little counter play. They got everybody moving to the left, brought in, back to the right, and we're able to get some positive yards out of it. But again, we have another flag on the field.
My goodness, and this one against Wilson Central, and it's going to back them up to the 20. So that's probably a personal foul penalty. We didn't see it. I wonder if that was celebration after.
I'm not sure.
There had to be some kind of taunting or something. We missed it. We were following the ball on that one. So that's going to bump them back to the 20. 3rd and 20 now. So another killer penalty on this drive. And he's
open again.
And not a perfect pass. But I have no idea how he caught that football with that much time for the defense to get over there to make that play.
Defense is just not seeing the ball. They are so focused on the wide receivers, they have no clue, and he's able to make an adjustment, come back to the ball. As a matter of fact, there was no flag on that, but if you watch, the defensive back reaches out and grabs him again as he starts to go around it.
And that touchdown is Alex Price, I believe. Yes, Alex Price on the score. He's also returned a punt for a touchdown this season, a 50-yarder. But I'll tell you, he stood there. He had 3 seconds where he didn't even move. And he had 2 guys behind him who were unable to get in front to make the stop, as you see Kavanaugh knock through the – no. Actually, they're going to call that one wide. I guess it went wide right. Bad angle here. So 16-0. And, folks, through the air, it's looked easy. That was not a great pass at all by Jordan Roundtree, but it did not matter. This you're exactly right. This secondary having an incredibly difficult time locating the football in the air with these receivers.
I just think right now they're just sprinting by them, and so instead of trying to watch the ball, they're just focusing in right on to the offensive wide receivers. They're not even seeing the ball, and that's why they're able to make that adjustment.
So 10-13 to play. 16-0 score here, Wilson Central.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the Play on Sports school broadcast program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
And this home crowd who watched their team finish 2-8 last season has already seen 2 wins in 2 games and well on their way towards a third with a 16-0 start. With a bunch of penalties on them, they're still up 16-0. Low kick here. And I believe we have another penalty. Offsides on the kicking team.
So far we have 2 stories. That's the passing game of Wilson Central and the penalties on both teams.
I believe by the end of this game there may actually be more penalties than there are total yards.
I would think we're getting close to seeing negative yards on both sides.
So they're going to have to boot this one from 5 yards behind. 35-yard line for Kavanaugh.
He kind of squibbed that last one. Remember, he went deep last time. Hendersonville returned it all the way past midfield.
Maybe they don't trust the hands of Hendersonville. This time he's going to kick it into the air, though. Nice and deep and pretty good hang time. Received on the 6-yard line. And way to keep his legs churning right there.
About one block away of breaking it again. Got a little crease right in the middle of the field, just like he did on the big return of 50-something yards earlier.
24-yard return out to the 29-yard line with the first and 10 Commandos.
Number 43 on that carry.
Number 40, Vic Johnson, the injured player, being assisted off the field to the Wildcats.
Yeah, we couldn't take that off last week when we had Adam.
We'll start this one on the 29-yard line, and it's going to be Richard that actually starts this drive, and he dropped the football. Miscommunication off the snap.
Number 82, Richards, is the quarterback for the Commandos.
And he probably lost a yard.
Loss of 1 on the play will bring up second and
Yep, loss of 1. 9:37 to play first half. Wilson Central 16, Hendersonville 0. And the Commandos have the ball. Richard stays in the game at quarterback, one man behind him. And that is
The fumble.
Kabasu, and another issue on the handoff. So 2 snaps in a row don't go well. This one costs them the football.
I don't know what happened there. Just a bad handoff. It looked like it hit his hip, bounced all the way out to the left tackle, and Wilson Central jumped on it.
And that was McBurney.
I got the pick earlier, and now gets a
Pick and a fumble recovery.
with the recovery.
So as we look towards trying to find a player of the game, McBurney certainly standing out right now for the Wilson Central High School defense. 25-yard line is where Jordan Roundtree is going to have to take over. And he's going to give again to Trey Givens, who busted up the middle for about 3.
Givens the ball carrier. Going to 3, be second and 7.
So 2nd and 7, and both turnovers for Hendersonville have come deep in their territory.
Yeah,
The interception which led to the field goal after another penalty which pushed them back, which made it a tougher drive for Wilson Central, and then here again just outside the red zone. Givens stands next to Roundtree, and this time they're not going to give it to him. They give it to Fitzgerald.
And there's a penalty. That's a late hit,
It
and
sure
that's
is.
obvious.
That is a pure frustration penalty right there by Hendersonville.
And it wasn't even a late. I mean, not only was it a late hit, but it was helmet to helmet.
Not going to get away with that in Pop Warner, much less prep.
I mean, you're looking at a great defensive play.
No need at all for that.
I mean, here's a 4 or 5 yard loss on a run. The defensive line just is able to get penetration. They're able to get back there about the time they hand the ball off, and then after the tackle, we have one of the linebackers just dive in on the play.
I mean, they knew Fitzgerald was getting the ball. They took Fitzgerald down, and then just a terrible mental decision. Yep, personal foul. We'll see exactly who it's called on.
Personal foul against the Commandos. That'll be enough for a first down for the Wildcats.
Wilson Central doesn't need the help. I mean, right now, Hendersonville's just giving them opportunity after opportunity.
18-yard line now as Crabtree in the gun. First down. Actually, 14-yard line, my apologies. And he gets maybe a yard, maybe half. Yeah. Looks like 1 yard on the play. Just over 8 minutes to go first half. The home team, 16-0. And quite frankly, Jerry, it could be worse. The penalties have certainly cost them I would say at least 4 more points when they had to settle for the field goal earlier.
Yeah, it's been, offensively, they haven't been able to get a whole lot going with the running game, but throwing the ball, they've been real successful. And there again, almost a tackle in the backfield, but they chase him down. And again, we got a loss. I mean, Hendersonville's been able to snuff out the run pretty much consistently. It's been the defensive secondary that's had lapses, and they've been able to get big plays there. Wilson Central has.
Givens there.
So I'm going to assume Wilson Central's going to throw the ball in this play.
Yes, I think that is a logical assumption. That is the kind of analysis that our viewers pay for. Oh, wait, they don't pay.
And that is the kind of analysis that they pay for.
Oh. 3rd and long. 3rd and 11 here for Roundtree. He's got his back beside him. And there's the pass, and overthrows him by a half a yard. But honestly,
he was there.
I think Lee should have probably made that catch.
Yeah, he was there. I mean, the ball was there. He just laid it up in the air for him to run underneath.
And for the umpteenth time in this first half, we saw a Wildcat receiver get behind the Commandos secondary.
It's consistent. Consistently, they're able to get beyond them.
So they'll have to try for 3 again as Kavanaugh, who's already knocked one in from 48. This one's going to be from 32.
And this is from the left hash mark, so let's see how he is from the left side.
Kick is up, it's low, and it is short. Short.
Again, online, but just short this time.
You could just tell when it came off his foot, it had way more height than it did distance. And that's going to cost you. So they're going to come up empty here. So unable to capitalize on the fumble.
Again, like you said, Wilson Central's gotten the ball deep in Hendersonville territory twice on turnovers, and at least Hendersonville's defense has been able to hold them to just 3 points on both of those turnovers. Hendersonville really needs to get something positive going here. They need to get a drive. They can control the clock now, but they need to get in the end zone before halftime.
And here's Elston back under center after taking a drive off. He's going to fake the handoff, keep it himself, try to move out to the right, and he gets swallowed up at the 9-yard line. And is that Coombs again? Oh, nope, that time it's Preston Reed, the defensive end. My 6s and 9s look awfully close with the black on blue.
Yeah, you got dark numbers on a dark jersey. It's kind of hard to see. But again, it seemed to be some kind of confusion there. The quarterback and the running back both kind of hesitated a little bit, and by that time, Preston Reed was in the backfield and able to make the tackle.
And Jerry, both defenses doing a good job against the ground attack, which is what we expected to see from both of these two teams coming into the game.
And we've seen a lot of tackles for losses.
And Elston under center. And that handoff goes to number 21. And that's Tate.
Third and 16, you wonder if they're going to go in the air.
Scoreboard shows 17. I think you're right, though. I think it is closer to 16. Throwing didn't work out the first time we saw it. And they're just going to hand the ball off to Andrew Pate, who is not able to get to the corner. Again, great lateral quickness against both these outside running attacks. The big gains that we've seen, reasonably big gains at least, have all been straight through the middle on a couple of holes created by the offensive lines.
Right now, Wilson Central's bringing 9 guys in the box because they are not expecting any throw, and they're just pinning it back and getting across the line.
Oh, and he's gonna. The snap goes over the head of Hart, the punter, and that means it's 18-0 off the safety. And the rich become richer in this football game.
Yeah, and Coach Dedman, a lot of pressure put on there, and so the snap's just going to be high, and it's going to get out. And so, again, special teams for Wilson Central playing a role and getting a couple of points in this game.
So we've seen 3 costly miscues thus far for the Commandos. We saw the interception from Elston off the back foot when he was trying to regain his footing there. And then, of course, we saw the fumble down here, and then just now snap, and it wasn't even close. It was way over his head. It was closer to the uprights than it was to the punter there. Play On Sports on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and info and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can access thousands of live and on-demand games at YouTube. That's youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports. You know who we are, PlayOnSports.com.
Again, Wilson Central's probably going to get great field position here because the kick's got to go from the 20-yard line because of the safety.
And gets about as much as you can expect from that kind of kick. It's going to be
good
fielded at about the 27, and he breaks through 2 tacklers. Almost barely even got a hand on him. And that was 25, Eric Simmons. So it's just a nightmare on special teams thus far for Hendersonville.
That was a great return, probably
It sure
about
was.
45 yards.
There were at least 3 white shirts that had a shot to make that tackle. None of them able to do it. 2 of them not even able to get a hand on Simmons, who gets to the outside before getting knocked out of bounds. If he hadn't run out of real estate, he might still be running.
And here again, Hendersonville's defense is on the field, 36 yards from their own end zone. They're just back up against it.
Crabtree, he's got Givens behind him. And Fitzgerald gets the call. And he gets knocked out of bounds right around the 30-yard line. Gain of around 5, maybe 6 on that play.
We got another flag on the field against Commandos. I think it looked like a horse collar on the tackle as he reached up and grabbed him from behind. Oh, we got a face mask.
So just as bad. 2 of the most dangerous penalties in the game. And that, of course, leads Wilson Central to a first down inside the 25 on the 24-yard line. That is where Jordan Roundtree will take over. And we've got a break in the action, and there is more laundry on the field. You know what? I think that these yellow flags should be handed out to this Hendersonville crowd. They can just wave those around like terrible towels in Pittsburgh because there's enough to go around.
Here, just this time you line up in the defensive zone.
Oh, 1st and 5 from the 19. Roundtree fakes the give to Fitzgerald, tries to throw over the top, and yet again it's good, but that's out of the backside of the end zone. So that was a touchdown, but about a yard too deep.
It's the same song about the 5th verse. Defensively, they allowed a receiver to get beyond them.
Mason Pavin, the intended receiver on the play. But yeah, that's the point. Again, secondary unable to stay in front of these receivers. 4:12 to play in the first half here from Wilson Central Stadium. Crawford, straight handoff up the middle. And that'll get him probably past the marker.
He carried a couple of tacklers with him. He did a great job keeping his legs moving, just moving up the field, down the field. Probably going to be 3rd and less than 1. Actually going to measure this time.
And I see someone hobbling there. It's number 50. The left guard, that's Brian Cummings, who is trying to walk this one off. And as they measure, that may give him the time he needs. So we're looking at either third and really short or a first down. It looked like he got enough.
He did.
And indeed he did by about half the football.
Looks like he got enough for another Wilson back in first.
The story of the game thus far has been the inability of the Hendersonville secondary to control at all the Wilson Central receivers, and then on their own offense, holding on to the football. Good news for Hendersonville fans is 18 points isn't insurmountable. There's still a half a football to play. Here is Roundtree. Sends Fitzgerald in motion across the formation, and he's going to give it across to Alex Price, who's unable to do much with it right there.
Price thought he saw a little gap there. He turned into it, and it was filled very quickly by number 55 for Hendersonville, which is Ryan Ward. He just stepped in and closed that gap quick.
Ward, who saved the touchdown, diving towards the back right hand here of the end zone on another attempted touchdown throw from Roundtree on the last drive after the fumble.
Again, that's, they're
Defense
tackling
at times has played really well. It's just been the secondary has had so much trouble with the outside speed of these receivers. Across the formation comes Fitzgerald again. And Roundtree looked to his left and saw 32 coming right at him. Just tries to bail out of it, throws in the direction of Fitzgerald, but that was more, I don't want to lose 15 yards.
And that could have been close for grounding. I mean, if you hadn't had the receiver stepping back to the ball, because the ball never even made it back to the line of scrimmage.
No, it was saved by Fitzgerald being heady enough to try to come back to the football to avoid the flag being thrown.
And also Roundtree was able to get out of the pocket. So, but he had to get the ball to the line of scrimmage. He didn't, but he had the wide receiver stepping back to the ball.
On the chase, Drew Davis, number 32 for the Commandos. So third and long, 3rd and 11 officially from the 15, 2:47 to play first half. Roundtree under center.
A wide open guy at the end
zone. Oh my goodness, how open was he? And again, unable to get the feet down.
But he was by himself.
He could have called out for pizza, Jerry.
He was by himself.
Everybody knew his address, and nobody could get there. And that was Mason Pavin again. That's to say he was the intended receiver on the last one that went out of the back of the end zone. That one I believe he should have had.
Looks like they're going to go for it 4th down here instead of attempting the field goal.
So you see Brad Dedman not worried at all about taking risks through the air. He trusts his quarterback. This time Roundtree in the shotgun. Got 2 receivers on both sides of the field. This time he just looks over to the flat.
Defensively, he's
unbelievable.
He's
still on his feet. How in the world did he get all the way back across this field? And even more surprising, that was the longest play maybe we've seen all night, and there's not a flag on the field.
Yeah, for sure. And again, Hendersonville, there's a win for Hendersonville. They got to stop. And they did a nice job. They read that out. They were able to step up and make contact. They just weren't able to wrap him up and put him down. He was able to run all the way across the field and get some positive yards out of it, but not enough for a first down.
Chris Lee trying to make as much as he could out of it. But it's first down Commandos.
Again, deep in their own end, and they just need to get something positive and not turn the ball over.
Something to build the confidence in this last 2.5 minutes, 2:29 on the clock as, we've got Wilson Central thinking they had the football, and they do. Unbelievable, Jerry. And another fumble early in a drive, deep in their own territory.
You really got to feel for the Hendersonville
it's
defense.
sad.
You just got to feel for them because besides the 71 throw to start the game, the average starting position for Wilson Central's been probably about the 30-yard line of Hendersonville. And Hendersonville's defense has had their back to their goal line consistently this whole first half.
So Roundtree back under center. He has got Givens behind him and Fitzgerald in motion. And Fitzgerald gets the toss, a really nice toss, by the way, by Roundtree. Gets it over there quick enough to where Fitzgerald can try to make something of it up the field, and he's going to get out of there probably around the 7. I'd say it's about a 4-yard gain. 2:19 to play first half. Home team Wilson Central Wildcats 18. Hendersonville nothing. Up to the line. Comes Roundtree again. Gibbons behind him. And in that offset is Fitzgerald. This time, Fitzgerald stays to the left.
He cuts it up. He's touchdown.
And Fitzgerald played decoy on that play for Alex Price. Price gets it into the end zone. His 3rd touchdown on the season. And this one is starting to get a bit out of hand as it's 24-0.
Yeah, great vision by Price. He's trying to string it out. He looks, sees there's a little gap open. He just turns it upfield, and he goes untouched in the end zone.
And it was a good play call right there because everybody followed Fitzgerald because that's what we've seen the entire game. That time he played decoy for Price, and the result is 6 points.
That is a tired Hendersonville defense.
Sure
they
is.
have been on the field a lot, and not only been on the field, but it's been – one of these pressure situations. They're back against their own end zone. They've got to get something positive.
25-0.
Wilson Central gets the ball to start the second half.
Remember Wilson Central, like we said at the top of the broadcast, Jerry, 28-0. They led Gallatin. So they like to start quick, and then they just take the ball and go home. So you look at it, 2:14 on the clock. Hendersonville has to find a way to score before the half. Because if they don't, they have to deal, just like you said, this team with this huge lead gets the football again. And what we've seen from this Hendersonville secondary is if they get slower, if they get more tired, then it's going to be even more difficult to handle these receivers on the outside.
It's right now, Wilson Central, they've conducted it's just been the penalties and the turnovers on Hendersonville's spot. It's just on their part. It's just given Wilson Central an opportunity to score 25 points.
So Kavanaugh set to kick this ball off. It's going to be taken at the 5-yard line. And that's Orr. And Orr with a decent return. Gets them at least out of the shadow of their own end zone. And they'll start this drive from the 25. Not too much time, but enough time. No timeouts taken by Hendersonville thus far, so they do have a chance to stop the clock 3 times. Hopefully, at least for them, en route to the end zone. And now there is another quarterback in that we haven't seen at all this season, and he's going to give it's Gerardo Alvarez that's now playing, that's now kicking right there, and that was Jarks Wardlaw.
I think Coach Hatfield
on
said,
the run.
You know what, we're not getting anything accomplished right now. We just got to do something different.
Just trying to spark something. And not a bad first effort. And there's Wardlaw again, and that's a first down and more. He rumbles his way to about the 46-yard line. And that'll move the chains again as they near midfield. First 2 plays, pretty good for Wardlaw. And 2 good snaps as well.
Yeah.
Which usually you wouldn't mention in a broadcast, but after what we've seen in the last about 8 minutes for Hendersonville, that's a good sign. So they're doing what they need to do right now, and they're going to stick with what works. Wardlaw this time in motion, and they don't give it to him this time. They give it to the – and did he lose the ball again? Almost lost the ball again. And that was Tate on the carry.
And a nice job because he was hit about 3 yards deep in the backfield, and he just kept churning through it and turned it into an 8-yard gain. you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight, tell your school to sign up for Play on Sports, the Play on Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
So a couple of signs of life here for Hendersonville down the stretch here in the first half of action, courtesy of playonsports.com and the TSSAA. We'll be with you all season here in Nashville and the surrounding areas, tonight in Lebanon. And again, the college kids started it off last night, again in Nashville. Vanderbilt in South Carolina playing a tough game, and then we're about a week away from the start of the NFL season. There's football in the air. It started out with prep 3 weeks ago, courtesy of playonsports.com. And they're going to stick with what works.
He's got a gap.
That's Wardlaw. And again, this change that they've made as they brought in Gerardo Alvarez and Jarquez Wardlaw, that has worked.
Just hanging on to the ball. What more can you want?
Can't really ask for too much more than what you've gotten from these kids. 3 of these 4 plays. Wardlaw with 3 carries, and he's moved the ball down the field pretty effectively. Under a minute to play, 47 seconds, 25-0. And this one's going to go for minimal but a positive gain. And that's Tate, I do believe. And that's a timeout by Hendersonville to stop this clock with 40 seconds to play.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com, high school sports lives here.
And don't forget, folks, to stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com postgame show, where we will select our player of the game as well as wrap up all the action from the game. That's coming up following the game on your destination for high school sports. You got it yet? PlayOnSports.com.
Yeah, it's been an impressive drive, Jason. Not just the fact, but I mean, you're talking about just over 2 minutes. Hendersonville makes wholesale changes in the backfield, and they've been able to drive the ball from their own 25-yard line down to the Wilson Central 27, and they've just been, it's been a running attack. So, I mean, you talk about a 2-minute offense, it's running the ball, and they're putting themselves in a position where they can score.
And what you see is, and you see this across football when things aren't working, sometimes a coach just goes way outside what everybody expects and tries to see what he can do to spark a team. And what we've seen thus far from Alvarez and Wardlaw particularly, and
again,
that's probably a false start or a procedure penalty on the offense. We'll see. Yep, false start again, knocks them 5 yards back. 39 seconds to play. So now 2nd and 12 from the 27. That's where Alvarez starts. Gives it to Wardlaw again. That right side has been golden for them. He's not able to break out for quite as much this time, but still makes about 4 yards out of that. Clock's still running, 25, 24, and still running. 21 seconds timeout. So they let 6 seconds go off the clock before calling that timeout. And that is their final timeout of the half.
They may put a couple more seconds back on the
Yeah,
clock.
it seemed like 23, 24 is when I saw the signal from Bruce Hatfield. So some signs of life for Hendersonville here as they've changed up what they're doing. They're still running the ball, but they brought in a new back in Wardlaw who has done the job.
And again, the coaches talk about all the time. They use the term sureness, just taking care of the basketball, or taking care of the football here. I'm sorry about that. And you see Alvarez has been able to do that. He's just, handing the ball off, but instead, he's just taking care of the football.
And Wardlaw had not carried the football one time this season until tonight.
Coach Hatfield said they had some depth. It was just finding the running back that was going to be able to be on the game tonight. It looks like Wardlaw is now.
I expect we're going to see a good bit of him for the rest of this game. Because at first when you saw everybody come in, maybe they were throwing in the towel, but not at the half, not before the half. I mean, 25 points is not 60 points. So here's Alvarez. He's got Tate directly behind him. This time he fakes the give and throws, and that was the best looking pass I've seen thrown by a Hendersonville player tonight.
Just a
not
little
caught.
high.
Yeah, just maybe a little bit too much mustard on that throw. It was intended for Dye. And that's going to bring up 4th down, but they've got a shot to put some points on the board at least before the clock strikes 0-0.
And now we're looking at a 40-yard attempt here by Hendersonville.
This is DeGuerra from 40. Gets it up
that's
clean.
A nice leg.
It's got the distance, and it's true.
He could have hit that from 45,
That
46.
was
that was a nice kick.
Good deep, and there was an almost block coming off that right side on it as well. Got just enough of it to get over the outstretched arms of the defense.
It looked like it just took a little bit, a lot more time than normally you would see, but it was a great kick.
So 25-3, 12 seconds to play. That's probably what we're going to be looking at as we go into the half, but that's got to feel good for Bruce Hatfield and Hendersonville just to get that bagel off the scoreboard.
They were able to get something positive. They were able to move the ball about 50 yards, and then were able to get a field goal.
Again, these two teams identical in the division. Wilson Central undefeated. And again, it's so ridiculous. They were 2-8 last year. To now be 2-2, the only two teams they beat last year were Lebanon and Portland, who were ranked 6900th and 9000th, respectively, nationally.
And they still have both of those on their schedule later on because they're both district foes.
So 25-3 as Hendersonville strikes. And we saw a little bit there from Alvarez. And I see number 30 on the field here again, Mr. Wordlaw, who was quite impressive. And give the offensive line credit as well for blocking enough to get them down the field and get some points on the board. And there's DeGuerra, and he kicks that thing. Good grief. 5 yards deep into the end zone. That's not going to be returned.
For a high school team, so there's two solid kickers
absolutely
tonight.
48-yarder from a high school kicker?
And then a 40-yarder.
And a 40-yarder. And that 40 could have been good for 48.
Exactly.
So probably nothing too exciting coming up here. Don't want to take a risk up 25-3.
Hendersonville's gone into prevent. They've really moved the defensive secondary back, but I think you're probably there's a victory formation, so you're probably going to see them take a knee and end the half.
And Roundtree does take a knee, and that will do it for the first half of action here from Wilson Central High School. As the clock drives to 1, indeed. 25-3 Wildcats, but that 3 has got to feel good for Hatfield because it was a comedy of errors from a turnover perspective and from a secondary perspective in that first half. Courtesy of PlayOnSports.com and TSSAA. You're watching this game live and for free in one of numerous locations via the internet. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Play On Sports, and on Twitter, Play On Sports. And as these two teams leave the field, again, follow us at Play On Sports on Twitter and /Play On Sports on Facebook. We'll be back with more momentarily here at Play On Sports from Wilson Central in Lebanon, Tennessee.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard.
So what do you think we come back with?
Hendersonville Commando High School Band. How about a big round of applause? Great job. The Wilson Central High School Band would like to thank its gold level sponsors, Amazon.com, Toddy Chiropractic, Jupiter Music, Majestic, Mappet, Wilson Bank and Trust, and Rob Quinn and State Farm. Be sure to check out the Wilson Central High School Band at wilsoncentralband.org. That's wilsoncentralband.org. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field the award-winning Wilson Central High School Band. Under the field direction of drum majors Victoria Wright and Megan Ruth. Tonight, for your enjoyment, the band will present a portion of its 2012 show, The Adventure Begins, a tribute to the spirit of adventure and discovery. Drum majors, is your band ready?
All right, folks. Hope you've been enjoying first the Hendersonville Marching Band and now currently the Wilson Central Wildcats, their marching band on the field right now. Just a couple of minutes before we get back to live action here. The score, 25 points to 3 in favor of the home team, the Wilson Central Wildcats. And Jerry Landers, what we saw in the first half was a team that seemed to continually shoot itself in the foot.
Yeah, Hendersonville constantly, we had 3 turnovers and then numerous penalties. A couple of penalties hurt drives that they were putting up or starting to sustain a little bit. So it's they just constantly put themselves at a deficit and difficulty after difficulty.
And then when you look at the secondary and what Jordan Roundtree, the quarterback, was able to do, always consistently, his receivers getting behind the secondary of the Hendersonville Commandos, that provided the chance for big plays. Even though they weren't able to capitalize on as many of, they had at least 2 chances in the end zone down here in front of us, and were unable to capitalize on those for touchdowns as they hit the back of the end zone. They had a chance to really put a stranglehold on this game.
Big plays is the key here. And when you talk about big plays, it's pretty much everything is on Wilson Central's side. We're talking about, you talk about Alex Price, who has 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdown runs, and then the big 71-yard touchdown strike from Roundtree. So again, big plays from Roundtree as far as throwing the deep ball. With Edgar Tavares for the kicker, a 48-yard field goal. You talk about Tyler McBurney on the defensive side, an interception, a fumble recovery. And for Hendersonville, if you want to look at a big play, probably the big play is a 40-yard field goal by Bryce Daguerre.
And just I guess you would just say the energy created by the change that Coach Hatfield made towards the end, bringing in Alvarez at quarterback and Wardlaw into the backfield at running back. We'd seen him play on the other side of the ball a little bit and in kick coverage, but he comes out, runs almost exclusively to the right side on the out, and incredibly successful down the stretch for them. So maybe they found something that they might be able to try and exploit here, but they're going to have to deal with giving Jordan Roundtree and this Wilson Central offense the football to start the second half.
Yeah, it's got to be something. I mean, defensively, Hendersonville, the front 7, the linebackers and the linemen were able to pretty much sustain the run, or were able to cut down on the run. It was the deep ball, people getting beyond the defensive secondary where they were able to get big plays. So if they can get some pressure on Roundtree, shore it up a little bit in the defensive secondary, then they give themselves a chance to get back in the game, especially the way they finished the first half. And remember, last week, Hendersonville was down 20-3 at halftime. It was a game they lost, but they pretty much, played better the second half, outscoring Franklin 14-7.
And Hatfield, as you said, the team just doesn't quit. Right. They're going to come back out and they're going to play hard. And it would be hard or maybe even impossible to overstate what this first drive is going to mean for Hendersonville on defense. They have got to find a way to avoid giving up the big play on the out routes to these receivers.
Yeah, for Coach Hatfield and the Hendersonville Commandos, the key is going to be if they can get a 3 and out to start the second half, then they give themselves an opportunity maybe to get another drive going, and all of a sudden you're looking at they're back in this game a little bit. So the key is going to be getting a great stop, maybe a 3 and out after the opening kickoff in the second half.
So we know what to expect from Wilson Central. Roundtree going deep and running plays to Fitzgerald. As well as Trey Givens.
And Price, who was able to get Price, 2 touchdown runs.
He didn't carry the ball as much as the others, but he carried it when it counted.
Exactly.
So the clock about to hit 0, which means it's time for live action here, playonsports.com and TSSAA. Remember, you can always find us TSSAA network.com. You can find all sorts of games from around the upstate. And we'll talk to you more about that later in the game. Follow the Play On Sports Network, Facebook.com/PlayOnSports or Twitter.com, the @PlayOnSports handle. And, of course, YouTube.com/PlayOnNetwork. You can find all of the action from across the country. We're in numerous states, growing each day, as Play On Sports is slowly but surely becoming the destination for high school sports in the United States. So as we said, Jerry, Wilson Central will get the football first. And you have to think that Bruce Hatfield and his assistants have told his secondary, please help out the front seven. Get this football back in the hands of, I believe we're going to see Alvarez start the half at quarterback. I really do. I think that they just don't feel that Elston and Richards are going to give them what they need here tonight. So it's Bryce DeGuerra.
Back, pushes him in the end zone. Touchback.
And that was Givens. Givens and Price deep. They could have done damage, but DeGuerra, who we saw, he's got some leg. 40-yard field goal to close out the first half. Able to make sure that this drive isn't going to start any further than the 20-yard line.
Yeah, Givens caught the ball on about the half-yard line in play, but this momentum just carried him back in the end zone.
So Roundtree under center. One man behind him, and then he sends Price into motion. And the give, which was for about a yard, goes to Givens. That's a pretty favorable spot. I mean, about 2 yards, 2.5. They're going to give him 3.
Gain of about 3 on the play, second 7 for the Wildcats.
The ambiance of high school football, the band as they're leaving the field, the hot dogs because of concessions are never more than a stone's throw away. And football, hard-hitting up the middle football is what we just saw again. Unable to make much of that. So again, the front seven for Hendersonville still not giving too much. They give up 5 there, but 3rd and 2.
That was a great run by Givens. He just kept right in the middle and just kept churning his legs, taking a couple of Hendersonville defenders with him.
Yeah, showing that thigh, that lower leg strength right there, because the front seven did their job. They just weren't able to bring him down. It took about 3-4 white shirts to actually finally bring him to the ground. 10:42 to play. 25-3, 3rd and 2. And tried a misdirection there. It looked like Fitzgerald was going to get it, and he moves way out here, but nobody followed him. Again, the white shirts stay with the football.
He looks like he got just enough.
And it was awfully close, but that you said it exactly like the public address announcer just said. It gets just enough, and Wilson Central gets their first down.
And the nose of the ball is just past the 30, so. We're early in the 3rd quarter, but you wonder if Wilson Central's not looking at some type of ball control, at least more.
Maybe they're a little concerned about what they saw from Wordlaw in the 2nd quarter there. Toss play right there. That's Alex Price. And Price gets about 4 yards, scoots out to just across the 35-yard line, where he's knocked down by a fleet of Hendersonville tacklers. Including outside linebacker Brandon West, the senior. Big role on that tackle. Roundtree trots back onto the field after getting the signal from Dedman. He's be under center here. Looks like Fitzgerald off to the side.
He's open again.
And faking, he is wide open. Oh my goodness. Chris Lee, the intended receiver, and he had nobody close to him. And we said that this secondary has to find a way to not let these Wilson Central Wildcat receivers get behind them. And right there, that could have been the worst that we've seen so far.
I mean, they've been flying by him all night, and we're in man defense, and now he's at the line of scrimmage trying to make contact. He can't make contact. He's by him, and then he's 10 yards by him. If the pass is there, he walks into the end zone. There's no one around him.
Looks like the secondary's running in molasses out there. It's like they're standing there waiting for the quarterback to throw the football instead of staying on the receivers.
They're in man defense, and they're just pressed. I mean, you can look at them now. They're right up on the receiver. Receiver makes one move. He's by him, and there's nobody deep.
That's Fitzgerald in motion. He's going to get it across to the right side, and he's going to get tackled by the cornerback on the outside. That's number 11.
Little short. It's going to be close. But again, they may measure this one about in the same spot.
Free safety on the play. Jackson Duke, 6'2", 166 senior. Pretty good size for a free safety. 9:13 on the clock in the third quarter. Still 12 minutes to play in the fourth. 25-3 the score.
Nose of the ball again around at the 40. If it's not a first down, they have missed it by less than an inch.
Yeah, it's either really, really, really short or it's a first down. And it is really, really, really short.
About half a foot, and that's about it.
So that's going to bring up fourth and really short, and maybe a little bit of a decision to make, but
if they go for it, it's obviously going to be a quarterback sneak.
So it's going to be Roundtree one way or the other here.
And that's exactly what they ran the last time they had a fourth and short.
And we're successful then.
Yes.
Ball on the right hash mark here on the 40-yard line. That's where Roundtree will attempt to scoot this forward enough to move the chains. Sends Price in motion, and man, he got it and a lot more.
Yeah, he just took a snap, took a step, and slid off between the guard and the tackle and found a gap there.
That's a gain of 5 on a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, Hendersonville had moved the linebackers up and filled the gaps between center and guard, and he just, Roundtree just stepped beyond that and went between guard and tackle for an easy first down.
So first and 10, 45-yard line for the Wilson Central Wildcats. Roundtree gives to Price, who then hands off to Fitzgerald. And Fitzgerald, he was down, I do believe, but the ball does scoot out. And it's definitely recovered by one of 4 Hendersonville players at the 50, but I believe the ball was down.
Run a reverse there. Chad Dye, number 81, defensive end, does a great job. He doesn't chase. He stays there, and when they run the reverse, they run right into Chad Dye, and you run into something, 6'3", 250.
Best thing to do on all these crazy run plays, these misdirection plays, these double handoffs, is just stay in your lane. Just make sure that you stay where you're supposed to stay and don't fall for all the trickeration.
And that's what Chad Dye did that
Exactly.
time.
They did get the ball back, but only a 1-yard gain up to the 46. 2nd and 9, 8:05. Roundtree with the handoff, straight up the middle again. This time it's Givens, and he gets about 2. So the front 7, we've said it all night, still playing well, and they've been on the field an awful lot.
The defense has been there a long time. And here we're talking about 3rd and 7, about midfield. This is an area where they've got to get a stop. And you wonder if Hendersonville doesn't dial up some type of blitz, try to put pressure on Roundtree. Don't give him time to throw the long ball.
3rd and 7 here. Mason Pavin checks into the game. He's going to be split out wide to the right. He's been the target on some of these deeper plays. And he was grabbing a signal along with Roundtree. So we'll see what happens here. Roundtree looks towards him, but he's going to throw short of Pavin, who is wide open by 15 yards deep. They threw to Price shorter, and Price was unable to make the play. Pretty good coverage there, but I'll tell you, Pavin was actually clapping his hands together because he knew, as did everybody else in this stadium, that was 6 by 40 yards.
Roundtree looked up, thought he had a guy there in the slot, threw the ball, but a great defensive play. I mean, a guy got up, tipped the ball, was still almost caught. But
So
Hendersonville got exactly what they wanted. They were able to get a stop.
Yep, mission accomplished.
Try to get the ball back, see if they can get something going.
And it'll be Pate, and he signals to let this one die without a fight, and it does so just outside the 20-yard line.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com. High school sports lives here.
So let's see what Hendersonville chooses to do on offense and what personnel are in the game. Indeed, there is Alvarez.
And Wardlaw with the ball.
And this time, nothing doing. He's going to lose a couple. Wordlaw tried to go to that familiar right side, which seemed to be flat out money in the back half of that second quarter, but he gets stopped for a loss. 2 or 3 guys stuck around to make sure that he went down. Only a loss of 1, 2nd and 11 here as we have a personnel change. So here's Alvarez, 2 backs behind him. And he gives to the fullback.
May have got back the lost yard.
That was Tate.
That's about it.
Yeah, that might have gotten back to the original line of scrimmage. Actually, I still think it's short about a half a yard.
And we're looking at the same play call as at the end of the second half. It was Wardlaw and Tate, and that's exactly what we've gotten here, except this time Wilson Central just kind of stuffed it out.
What you've seen is Dedman did a pretty good scouting job at halftime, told them what they needed to do to change up. 2 backs behind Alvarez, and he hands off to Wardlaw again. Wardlaw makes the first man miss, but there's just nowhere to go. There are way too many bodies between him and the first down marker. He's going to get knocked down about the 22-yard line, so only about 2 yards gained in 3 plays for Hendersonville, and their defense is already going to have to come back out onto the field.
And that's not what they wanted. I mean, they got the stop. They were able to get the ball back, but nothing.
So Hart to kick.
Oh,
and
that's
that's
a block punt.
And it was blocked by a mile. He was all over that play, and that was number 6, Preston Reed. And you want to talk about a highlight play? He was all over.
And that, we're looking at, again, Coach Dedman said one of the keys this summer was working on special teams, and this is their 2nd block punt of the year. The first in the first game, they returned for a touchdown, and here's this one again. Hendersonville's defense inside, their own 25-yard line.
We've seen that at least. We've seen that 3 times. We've seen the 2 fumbles. We've seen the interception.
All
of them
night
deep.
long, they've been back against their own goal line.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they take a shot on one of these first 2 plays. They're going to give to Fitzgerald, who runs into his own man, stays on his feet, bounces off a tackler, gets knocked down at about the 22-yard line. Give him credit for staying on his feet as long as he did, but good pursuit. And then once they got there, just basically formed a soccer wall to make sure that he wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, he was able to get some positive yards out of that because he was hit about 2 or 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
They're going to call it 2nd and 9. So, yeah, he could have easily lost 3. Second and 9 from the 22. 4:25 to play, 3rd quarter. This one's moved a lot faster. You know why? No penalties.
And they're really not throwing the ball. It's been on the ground.
And Roundtree, this time he might have a pick.
He is.
What a play right there. I'll tell you, that's the first time all game that the Hendersonville secondary has stayed in front of the receiver. And what is the answer? And that was Mason Pavin again, who's been on the receiving end of 2 almost touchdowns, but an interception and a phenomenal play.
Yeah, that was a great play by the defender, number 33. I'm trying to look here. Who was that? Number 33 for Hendersonville. Oh, turn it around.
And we don't need to worry about it now because that's going the distance, folks. He's going to break that all the way to the end zone. And guess what? Preston Reed, who blocked the punt mere moments ago, takes it to the house. So it's 31-3.
Back-to-back turnovers.
And what a dejecting moment that is when you look at the previous play.
Yeah, you just had a great play by the defense from Hendersonville. Like you said, nobody got beyond them. As a matter of fact, Pavin looked like he became the defensive back. He was trying to break up the interception and then turn around, and immediately the ball's taken in for a touchdown on an interception by Reed.
So the tenor of this football game has changed dramatically as you see Kavanaugh put that one between the uprights. 32-3, 3:55 to play in the third quarter. And I'll tell you what, Preston Reed, 2 enormous plays. As good a block punt as you'll ever see. He was standing there ready to hand the man coffee as he blocked that kick. It wasn't a dive. He didn't need to. He blew the way off the line and got it done. And then that wonderful interception crosses the field, breaks one tackle, and it's pay dirt.
These cheerleaders are going to get to shake fast with this offense.
It's interesting. The PA announcer here is a bit of a pundit, talking about the cheerleaders going to be tired after all the offensive plays and giving his analysis through the public address system.
They're dropping down and giving push-ups for every point they score, so they're getting a workout right now.
That was as good as you'll see right there.
Play on Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us on Play on Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnSportsNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
And Kavanaugh boots this one deep, not quite to the goal line, so it will be returned from the 4-yard line. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious.
That was a great shot by the guy from Wilson Central. Came down, made contact, didn't wrap him up, so he bounced off and was able to pick up a couple of yards. But he laid a hit on him.
That was a bit of a wallop right there. Credit 25 for hanging on to the pigskin and managing to stay on his feet. I think his whole body was shocked. He got hit that much, so he didn't even realize he should have fallen down.
Hey, he got a couple yards after the contact.
And still Alvarez at quarterback. And he's going to give, and that is Kabasu, who we haven't seen
since the first quarter
do
in the
a whole
first
lot.
drive.
Yeah.
35 to lose Kabasu on the carry.
Gets that ball just inside the 20, so that's about a 2-yard gain. And we're nearing danger zone for Hendersonville. They've got to find a way to put some serious points on the board. That interception could have been to coup de grace, and especially coming off the play right before it. That's a tough one to swallow right there. Alvarez, one back behind him. You see Wardlaw. Wardlaw's coming across the formation. He's going to get it, and he's going to try to go right again. There's a flag down on the play, and he is gang tackled in the backfield.
We went longer in the second half before we saw flags.
And now we see 2. Another flag thrown.
And I didn't realize we were going to be speaking French up here tonight.
Every once in a while, you've got to make sure that the Marseille listeners are enjoying.
Well, I'm sure, obviously we can get some.
It was magnifique.
Yeah, we obviously we probably got a couple of people up in Quebec watching tonight's game online.
That penalty was on Hendersonville, and Wilson Central's going to decline it, which you have to imagine is not surprising considering the attack on the last play. So 3rd and 10. I'm going to call it 11. 3rd and 11 from the 15. Alvarez. Wardlaw again coming across the formation to the right. This time they're going to give it to the back behind him. That's Kabasu again. And maybe 5, 4, somewhere in there.
Hey, you wonder if you've had your back to your own goal line all night. It's 4th down. You're down 32-3. Well, that or do we look at some type of fake here? I mean, obviously, 4th down.
Yeah, it is deep, but eventually you have to do something.
That's a nice kick.
That's a great kick, and it is over the head of Price, who has to field it back on his own 5-yard line. He's tackled on the 10, and I'll tell you something else. Preston Reed was about 2 steps away from another block, but instead this thing goes, where did he kick that ball? That's about an 80-yarder.
He kicked the ball from about the 12.
That's about an 80. 8-yard kick. That's
the ball sailed about 10 yards over the receiver's head, and then it just bounced and rolled all the way down to the 5. That was a great kick.
That was something else.
I think that's the first time we really got to see him kick tonight because of turnovers and then obviously the block punt. But he boomed it.
That was Addison Hart, and my goodness, what a leg that kid's got. 2:04 to go in the third, 32-3, home team. And that is maybe somebody we haven't seen. It's Gabe Angel, who we've seen in the flat and in the slot, trying to make a couple of plays earlier. That's his first carry that I've seen tonight. And it goes for 6 yards.
Loss of 3.
The scoreboard operator's got 2nd and 4 up on the board. My window blocked me past the 20. So good play again on the run by Hendersonville, and there's a flag down.
Delay. And you're probably going to see that. I mean, Wilson Central's
going
to start. Yeah, they're going to start running the clock. They're probably going to try to snap the ball late in the count. Got to keep their eye on the back judge. He's the guy that's going to signal to them. They must have some malfunction with the play clock because it's sitting on 0 and not running. If you watch the back judge, about 5 seconds left to go before the end of the play, he'll start motioning with his hand. They just weren't able to get a play off that time.
Roundtree with the handoff, straight up the middle again. And that's Givens, I think. And we're probably going to see a lot of this for the rest of this game. I mean, they've got this thing well in hand, barring a miracle.
It'll be 3rd and 15 for the Wildcats from their own 5-yard line.
So 3rd and 15 upcoming.
There's part of the reason why they're going deep in the count. Roundtree's going over to the sideline. He had about a 30-yard run. Just get back to the huddle.
There's only about 30 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter.
We got another delay.
Another delay.
And again, a lot of that was just a play call. Didn't get to him. I mean, by the time he hustled back to the huddle, called the play, and they got up to the line of scrimmage, they didn't have but a couple seconds.
But it doesn't hurt as much when you're up 29.
No, but
I mean, certainly you don't want that to happen.
No, and at least every penalty at this point is just half the distance of the goal line. You're going to put pressure on your punter.
Unless there's a throw here, which probably unexpected. Even though it's 3rd and very long, this is probably the final play of the 3rd quarter.
Oh, it's blocked.
That's blocked in the end zone.
It's out of the end zone.
Back out of the end zone. So we've seen 2 safeties in this football game.
2 block punts.
So they kicked the ball on 3rd down and end up giving up 2 points, and they're still going to give the football back.
Give the football back, and it's going to be kicked from the 20. So Hendersonville ought to get pretty good as far as field position. They ought to get pretty good field position this time. PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com, high school sports lives here.
So there's a little bit of just discombobulation going on between the coaching staff and the offense. What we saw some late play calls, and then an odd situation there that leads to a safety. What you don't want to see if you're well ahead in high school is your team losing focus. And we've seen just a little bit of that. It's not that Hendersonville's in tremendous danger of making this huge comeback and stunning Wilson Central, but you don't want to give this team life. There is still 12 minutes to play in this game. And they're probably going to get this around the 30-yard line when all's said and done.
You think the kick's probably going to take it down to about the 30, and then they've had pretty good returns, 20, 25 yards, and earlier in the game they had one, about a 50-yard return that, again, a penalty forced the ball back. But they've gotten decent returns on all the kicks, and they're going to probably get another one right here.
And Orr is back, and he's not going to receive it. Yep, you're right. 45-yard line, maybe even the 46. And Napier gets it to the 45.
Hendersonville wants some type of quick strike, but the offense isn't really set up for a quick strike.
No, they're not. And we've seen the quarterbacks both, well, 2 of the 3 have severe problems. And they just don't throw very much, which makes it really hard to come back in a game like this. Wardlaw to the left, Fitzgerald to the right. Or not Fitzgerald, but Wardlaw's actually going over to the right as well.
It's a movement.
Yep. It's Cavasu that was over to the right. Well, that's how you ruin a good onside kick return, or a good free kick return. Again, the same formation with Wardlaw to the left and Cavasu to the right. This time Wardlaw is going to get the call, and he gets it within about a yard of the line of scrimmage. So we'll give him 4 yards, and that should be the final play of the third quarter as the clock is at 4 seconds. So 12 minutes of football to play here from Wilson Central High School. The Wildcats lead this one 32-5 over the visiting Hendersonville Commandos here on PlayOnSports.com.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot this.
Play on Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us on Play on Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
So as we begin the fourth quarter of play from Wilson Central High School, Jason Martin, Jerry Landers with you, 32-5, and Hendersonville takes over, and that's Richards back in at quarterback. Not the starter, but the usual backup, and he hands the ball off to Wardlaw, who gets 5 yards. So they're going to call 3rd and 7 here from the 48. Wilson Central will love to watch them run the ball up the field because it's the same difference as them running the ball up the field at this point. The clock is now Hendersonville's worst enemy. Richards on the give.
Keeper.
Faked the give, kept it, and it didn't matter. It gets knocked down right at midfield.
Here you are in midfield. Fourth quarter, you're down. You got to go for it. And it looks like what they're going to do.
So the ball just inside the 50.
All right, Wildcat fans, make some noise. We're going to let this drive continue any further. Let them know you're here.
4th and 4. Got to think last gasp effort right here for Hendersonville. Just trying to make something happen. Wardlaw. And it's not going to happen.
I got a delay.
And they're going to take a delay. That's just not what you need. So 4th and 4 becomes 4th and 9, and a team that has barely gained 9 yards on any play tonight. And now you almost think they have to throw. 4th and 4 may have been a Wardlaw carry. It looked like he was close enough to receive that one and try to go to the left. Now they're going to have to throw, and it's from the gun, and it's Richards. And nope.
Nothing. They didn't even get back to the line of
Nope.
scrimmage.
That was Cavasu, and he may have gotten a yard. Or he got to the, and he lost half a yard on that carry, and that's where Wilson Central will take over at the 45.5-yard line on the Hendersonville side of the field. Probably going to be a steady diet of Alex Price and Givens. And
you think they're going to go deep in the clock and just hand the ball off at this point? Let the clock run.
10:26 to play, fourth quarter. 32-5 the score here on Play on Sports. Fitzgerald, the man in motion.
Oh, they're going to throw, and he's
They're
open.
throwing the first play, and he is wide open by a mile. That's a touchdown. 10-5 in the end zone.
That's the first time we've seen it in the second half, but it's really the first time they've really attempted to do that. Again, he's 10 yards by everybody. He's by himself, and it's just an easy pitch and catch.
And that's Chris Lee. Chris Lee from Jordan Roundtree for 60. Or 50, that is. And that's Kavanaugh again, and it's 38-5. So about a 50-yard completion there. Kick's good.
Stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com postgame show where we will select our player of the game, as well as wrap up all the action from this ball game. That's coming up following the game on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
So we thought they were just going to drown out the clock. Chris Lee beat the secondary, beat everybody. Nobody followed him when he went past. And he was open by, I'd say, a good 15 yards by the time he caught that football.
It shocked me. I figured we were probably going to see a steady run down, and obviously Hendersonville probably thought the same thing. Well, I guess we're probably getting close to trying to figure out who we're going to name as player of the game. And there are quite a few candidates.
There are a couple of candidates for sure. Roundtree, the quarterbacks, made some solid plays tonight. Alex Price scoring a couple. Chris Lee making some serious catches, including that one. And like I said,
we had
Preston Reed.
And Tyler McBurney in the first half defensively on both sides.
Now, McBurney owned the first half. Reed has owned the second half. As that kick from Kavanaugh gets to the one, not fielded cleanly, but he picks it back up. And still on his feet, gets out past the 20. Good return right there, as he was hit around the 14-yard line.
Yeah.
So we'll see what Hendersonville is going to do now. Might be time to get some guys in the game, some playing time. And what we saw was Alvarez and Wordlaw really showing us something at the end of that second quarter, but they have just not been able to get it going here in the third and now into the fourth, as Brad Dedman clearly coached them up at halftime. And both teams have played much better from a penalty perspective in the second half. That was a real big problem in the first half. But these kids have gotten a bit more disciplined, both teams, and that is to be commended.
It's been a much cleaner first half, our second half.
And that's Richards. And he gives straight up the middle for about, I don't know if he even got a yard.
36.
We've seen 36. We've seen a lot of 35. Seen a lot of Kavasu tonight. The clock's still running, 9.5 to play. And it looks like Wilson Central is going to stay undefeated and go 3-0. And this team really starting to show the state of Tennessee that they might be for real. As we see Richards on the fake there and actually hands it off straight up the middle to Napier.
Had some, probably the best carry of the second half. He got a first down on it, a 10-yard gain, 11-yard gain.
That'll be good for Commando first down, 1st and 10 from their own 33-yard line.
And that one gets
Napier again, the ball carrier.
knocked down behind the line of scrimmage there. Morgan Napier, the junior, getting some action here late. And he is going to leave the field.
Looks like Hendersonville's got in a new group of 7. They've been running a lot of people in, a couple of 2 or 3 players every play from scrimmage. So they're getting some experience out here, some different guys, and we got a pass.
Richards gets free, and he gets that one out to John Reed, the fullback. And there's a flag down from around where Reed might have broken free.
Now we have a penalty on Wilson Central on the defense.
So the ball now out to the 48-yard line after the penalty. Richards decides to keep this one off the fake to Jack Peters, and he brings it out to midfield, gets it to the 50. That'll bring up 3rd and 7. Or 2nd and 7, that is. Might call it 8, actually. Nope, 2nd and 7. So, yep, a lot of substitutions. Not too surprising at this point in this game.
They're running them in each play, so they're doing a good job of keeping the flow of the game going and getting a lot of people in the game. Direct handoff right up front.
And he got a good chunk of yardage right there, probably 5 on that carry.
John Foran, ball carrier.
That's number 33, Jonathan Foran. I believe that's his first carry of the game. Content to drown the clock out is the defense and Coach Dedman. 3rd and 2 now, 6:46 to play. Wilson Central 39-5 lead right now. Richards hangs on to this ball, still on his feet. Made a guy miss and then got back to the open field and gets the first down and about 6 extra yards as he gets the ball down to the 35-yard line.
He rolled out to his left, was grabbed in the backfield, just kind of stepped out of that and got some real good positive yards and got a first down.
Nose of the football, not quite on the 35, but awfully close. First down. And kind of hit each other on the handoff right there, did Richards and Wardlaw, I believe. Yep, Wardlaw, as he then fights his way back, probably a yard short of the original line of scrimmage. Ball's maybe moved back a half a yard, so it's still, no, they are going to give it a yard. 2nd and 11. So Wardlaw has been unable to do much of anything in the second half. Richard gives this one straight up the middle again, and that's another first down. About a 12, 13-yard run right there. And I believe that's Kavasu. Not Tate. Sam Pate, number 37 on the carry. Back up to the line, approaching the red zone. Richards. This one is to Wordlaw. Wordlaw tries to go back up the middle again. Can't make it all the way to the 20-yard line, so that's about a 2.5 yard gain. And that'll bring up 2nd and 8. Five minutes to play here in this game here in Lebanon. And that handoff goes nowhere. And that was Tate again. Or Pate, excuse me.
Wilson Central looks content to give up 5-6
Absolutely.
yards. Just let the clock run.
Again on the play, it's going to bring up 3rd and about 8 for the Commandos.
3rd and 8. Richards on the give to the outside, and that is Brandon Schwert on the carry. Gets it towards the 15-yard line. I'm not sure exactly where he got knocked out of bounds.
Looks like he's right on the 15, going to be a couple yards short, maybe 3.
2 or 3 yards short here. Clock stopped this time. So 4th and 3 here, upcoming inside the red zone on the 16, 4:08 to play. We'll see what they do here. At this point, you just kind of root for Hendersonville to get a couple of points on the board. And they're going to give it to the exact same guy.
Just couldn't get outside this time.
Yep. Had less real estate off that left hash mark and just ran out of it, basically. And
I think
Wilson
you'll probably
Central.
see a new quarterback.
Probably. Don't want anybody to get injured in this situation.
And I think I'd be shocked. I mean, shocked, I tell you, if they
they
throw
threw
the
the
ball.
Yeah, Spurrier not coaching tonight.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups? Like the game you're enjoying here tonight, tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
In at quarterback, Cody Ray, the sophomore, 5'10". And my goodness, good tackles right there.
So what are you thinking as far as player of the game?
John Reed on that tackle, man. I don't know. Preston Reed had a great second half. McBurney kind of cancels him out because of the first half that he had.
I'm leaning toward because of the last pass.
Roundtree, right? Yeah, I'm thinking so. He missed a couple of shots in the end zone, threw it about a yard deep. The second one, I believe, should have been caught for a touchdown. But he's been pretty solid, and he's been poised when the rush was there early in the game to get things off to a good start.
He just threw himself into the running early with a 71-yard touchdown pass.
But it's been a pretty solid all-around team effort tonight from the Wildcats. Fitzgerald has had a nice night.
And Hendersonville gets a turnover. We have a fumble by Wilson Central, and Hendersonville gets the ball deep in Wilson Central territory.
We don't know him that well, but I would bet you Dedman's not real thrilled about that.
Say, probably not.
Even though there were a lot of non-starters in that situation, you want him to get that experience. So it'll be Richards again. Or Richard, pardon. And hands off the ball to Wordlaw. Wordlaw goes to the right, then bounces it back inside. Push that ball to the, no, they say he got down. He got knocked down a bit before it tried to stretch out. They'll put it on the 13. Maybe even the 14. It looks closer to the 13 for me. Maybe a yard gain there. Richard gives to the right to Michael Webb, and Webb is taken down. Peyton Muncie and Daly out there to make the offensive holding called on Hendersonville. Still to come tonight. Play on Sports Postgame Show. We will pick our player of the game. That's still to come. And they've got Elston, the starter, back in to get a little bit more work in. He's going to roll out to his left off the fake. Trying to make something happen through the air, just wasn't doing it. Called for a block, got it, got back to the line of scrimmage, and then about 4 or 5 extra yards as well. And that was pretty solid work right there by Jeremiah Elston on second and quite long. It's about 3rd and 5 coming up. He gets about 18, maybe 19 yards on that play. Elston back under center. Hands it just to his right. And that's Sam Pate. And Pate scores. Obviously too little too late, but a good moment for Hendersonville. They're going to get into double figures before this game ends. 39-11 now at the 1:53 mark of the 4th quarter. They'll try to tack on one here. Not really any reason to go for 2. And Bryce DeGuerra will attempt the extra point here. Kick is up. Straight through the uprights. So the score now 39-12, a 27-point lead for the Wilson Central Wildcats, who came into this game 2-0 in 3A District 9, and they will leave tonight 3-0. Again, 2-8 last year. Not a consistently great football program, but things obviously going in the right direction here as Coach Dedman has things on the right track. Play On Sports, of course, is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us on both venues. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube. That's at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Also Facebook.com/PlayOnNetwork. And at Play On Sports. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports. That's PlayOnSports.com. So a little bit of business to take care of. A minute 53 left on the clock. And DeGuerra set to kick off, as Wilson Central just wants the clock to run out here. And the kick from DeGuerra is high, but not quite deep enough to get to the end zone. It'll be fielded at the 5-yard line. And he gets wrapped up at about the 9. That was Tucker Bean taking down Kyle Coombs.
First and 10 Wildcats from the 10-yard line.
Clock continues to run, approaching the final minute. Successful night for the home team as the Wildcats again move to 3-0 in 3A District 9. Run straight up the gut, met by a gang of Hendersonville defenders. And this Wilson Central crowd is going to leave here feeling good about themselves as they're already starting a familiar chant. Hunter Wilson on that carry. 14 seconds to go, and that should be it. I think we've seen our last play here tonight. And that is the case. 4 quarters of football done. Football game over. And it was an early stranglehold placed on the game by Wilson Central, and they cruise to an easy 27-point victory here at home over district rival Hendersonville. The final score, Wilson Central 39, Hendersonville 12. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. Still the post-game show to go and our player of the game. Stick around right here, courtesy of Play on Sports and TSSAA Network.com.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
Joined right now by junior quarterback Jordan Roundtree of the victorious Wilson Central Wildcats. And Jordan, what was the game plan going in, and what did you see early in this football game that led to the success you had out there tonight?
We knew they'd be very physical up front, but they were playing man-to-man in the secondary, so we knew we would take our chances with our wide receivers. One-on-one coverage, I'll take Chris Lee any day on any defensive back that they had.
What we saw was all night long your receivers getting behind their secondary. So all you had to do was throw over the top, and they just had to make the plays. And you probably could have had a couple more touchdowns out there, a few out of the back of the end zone. But it seemed like you had command from the very beginning, the 71-yarder that got it started, and it was just pay dirt from there.
Yes, sir. They were pressing our receiver, who's stronger and bigger than them, so he got them beat every time, and we took control of the game and never lost momentum.
This is a team in Wilson Central that won 2 games a year ago. Not a hugely successful football program overall. Already 3-0 this year. Really starting to make some noise in Tennessee. What was the goal from Coach Dedman coming into the season, and how great is it for these fans to be able to leave here at this point with a 3-0 record for your team?
Our attitude changed completely once the season ended last year, and we started working hard, and we stuck to it, and we just kept going.
your receivers, your safety blankets all night long. You had Alex Price out there, had a great game, and the defense really stepped up in terms of turnovers, getting you the football back. 39-12, the final. What do you look for the rest of the season for your team?
We want to keep going. We want to leave this undefeated season. We want to win the district, and we want to go far.
That's Jordan Roundtree, the quarterback of the successful Wilson Central Wildcats, 39-12, demolishing of division rival Hendersonville. We'll be back with more of the postgame show here on PlayOnSportsNetwork.com and TSSAA Network.com. That's coming up in just a minute.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you in one shot.
And we're back for the final couple of minutes here from Wilson Central High School in Lebanon, Tennessee. Jerry Landers, first game of the season, Wilson Central gets all over Gallatin, goes up 28-0, and that's kind of the same situation that we saw here tonight.
Yeah, the speed of Wilson Central is really making a difference in District 9 AAA, and you gotta love it for Coach Dedman. They've really struggled the last few years. This is his third year, 7-15 coming into this game. This year. What a great start. You're 3-0, 2-0 in district play, and you can't be in any better position than you're in right now.
And when you look not just at what the receivers were able to do, we just talked to Jordan Roundtree, and he said, look, we knew we could beat these guys deep, and that's what they did all game. They got behind him on every play with the exception of one, and that was the interception, which they made up for on the very next play on an interception going the other direction. So not only that, but the turnovers that the defense was able to take care of early, and they got it always so deep in Hendersonville territory that it was just way too much to overcome for the visiting team.
Yeah, I think we said time and time again, the first half especially, that Hendersonville's defense was on the field too much, and their back was against their goal line. And it wasn't just the turnovers, it was the penalties. They constantly just killed themselves with penalties that pushed them backwards. They were never able to sustain anything or get anything going on the offensive end.
And we saw one defensive player in each half really step up for Wilson Central. Preston Reed in that second half, you can't ask for more than a block punt and then just moments later an interception for a touchdown.
Yeah, and like you said, what was it, McBurney in the first half, he had an interception and a big fumble recovery, which kind of keyed that run for Wilson Central.
And one thing that you see with good teams is you see one quarterback.
Yeah.
And you saw Roundtree from start to finish tonight, and except when it didn't matter. You saw three different quarterbacks, three different signal callers on the opposite side of the ball for Hendersonville. That generally means that you don't have that one guy that you can rely on. And, well, what we saw tonight was, indeed, they don't have a quarterback yet that I think that they have enough confidence in to really go the distance.
And you saw it's a lot of youth on the side as far as Hendersonville is concerned, playing a lot of juniors and sophomores, especially in those skill positions. And Coach Hatfield said coming into the game, one of their strengths was the front seven on offense and defense, but they were really trying to find something as far as skills positions. And we saw, I don't know how many tailbacks or running backs touched the ball, but for Hendersonville, there were probably 10 easy running backs who had at least a carry. And we're not talking about the end of the game. We're talking about during the course of the first three quarters.
And there's still a whole lot of football to be played in the state of Tennessee this year, but Wilson Central might actually be for real. That 2-0, a lot of people were just kind of dismissing it, and maybe Hendersonville's not the toughest competition they're going to see, but you can't ask for better than 3-0, and the contributions that Jordan Roundtree, that offense, and that dominating defense are making at this point.
Yeah, and they are in a tough district. I mean, you've got Beach High School, which is the state champion, 5A state champion from a couple of years ago, which made a little bit of noise last week beating Henry County, which puts them back on that footing. And then you've got Mount Juliet High School. So there's two teams in their district that they're still going to have to face that are going to be very, very good teams. But they put themselves in a position to, again, a lot of people are going to be talking about Wilson Central.
It was a rainy afternoon, but confidence in your team means people still come out. Tennessee was playing college football tonight, but these stands were still jacked, and this crowd stayed until the final stanza. Jerry Landers, it's always fun, even in a blowout. We look forward to doing it again. We'll be here next week and all season. PlayOnSportsNetwork.com, TSSAA network.com. It's your destination for high school sports. PlayOnSports.com.